Page 209, this is number 1 at the top of the page. This lesson and the next couple will be on reading music. Just good practice at reading music. Sight reading music if you can. And now, if you're going to sight read it, you just kind of do everything up front and then dive in. For instance, I'm going to go through the process, but all the steps at once. I look it over. It's 2 lines long, treble bass clef, 1 flat in the key signature. It's an F major, 4/4 time signature, and I see half notes, quarter notes, and whole notes, and there's pedal. So now that I've familiarized myself with it, I just dive in and try and do the best I can. Now, if it's really hard music for me, I'll just do one hand at a time. However, I'm just going to go through the process like I normally do. And I've already done the first part, the 1 flat, that's F major or D minor. So if you're doing scales and arpeggios, do those. And I'll do the right hand first because I want a fingering that lets me connect the notes if I can get it. You can't always get it, especially when it's an arrangement of something else, orchestra music or something that's not piano music, then sometimes it doesn't fit or fall into the fingers real well. But we do what we can. So starting out here. 1, 2, 1, 2, then I want 1, 2 here. And that's okay, it lets me connect the notes. However, if you've got big hands and so forth, this may not work. So you can do a 2, 3, but then I run out of fingers. What do I do there? So one way of handling this when you need 6 fingers and you only have 5 is we let the thumb do extra duty. Here, 2, 3, and then I'll let the thumb come and be the extra finger. And then 4. So I'm just letting the thumb be the extra finger is all. So 1, 2. And then go down, 1, 2. And here you don't have much choice because if you do a 2, 3, then you can't connect that. I've run out of fingers. So here you pretty much have to. However, you can take this index finger and squish it under and stick the thumb out more like that, and you reach at this. You're just barely touching the key here and your fingers here. But you can use that technique here on the 3rd measure too. But here you pretty much have to because I need the other fingers to go on. And on the G, I'm using 4 finger, not 3rd. 3rd, I don't know why they'd say 3. It should be 4. And then I have another problem. They want a 5. Well, that's okay. Because a lot of times we do that 4 or 5 have to walk around like 1 and 2 do. 4 and 5. Not so easy to do. Black keys make it a little easier because if I can go here, I can do it from a 4 to a black key more easily. If black keys are, but we're on white keys here. So what I'm going to do is on measure 6 on the half note. I'm going to play it 1, 4, and then I'm going to substitute the 4 with a 5 here. So the 4 was here, and I put a 5 on it while I'm holding it down. Do it immediately too. You'll eventually get really good at this. You can substitute any finger for any finger. It really comes in handy, but it lets me connect the notes. See, now I'm ready to go on. And you're pretty much stuck with that too. Left hand, well, we got this going on. They want 1, 5 on all this. No, I don't recommend 1, 5 on all those chords. You got other fingers, good grief. So here, the first one, I'm going to do a 5, 2. Now I can do a 4, 1. Then I can slide off here and put 5th finger. I could do both. That would help. Going on, and then measure 4 is here. 4, 1. Measure 5 is a 3, 1. Measure 6 is a 2, 1. 2, 1. 5, 2. I got all that pretty much in one hand position. I didn't have to move around. That's what I'm suggesting. So then I try putting them together, and I hear, and here, and here, and here, here, here. So I get them together, and then I go back over it slowly and get rid of the hesitations. And once I can do that, I'll think about the articulation. And this is very connected. You lift up at the end of measure 4 for the phrase. Like taking it, you can lift up both hands too. Makes it a little easier. If the left hand were playing single notes, I'd connect the left hand. But here you can lift up both hands here for the phrasing. Otherwise, I'm connecting it. Then the dynamics apply to the melody, which is actually so if you can bring that out, do the. Can you bring out one note over another? Yeah, that's advanced too. That takes time to develop. Playing a lot of harpsichord music will do that, because when you're playing the polyphonic music, Bach stuff, Scarlatti sonatas and so forth, you have to learn to bring out certain notes. When I would do a Bach fugue, whatever, I would have to play for the professor each I would play it if it's a 4-part fugue. I would play it 4 times, and each time I'd have to bring out one of the parts. Only that part. I'd have to practice so I could bring out any part at any time. And that's really, really hard to do, and it takes time and a lot of work to get there. But you develop that kind of control over the fingers where you can bring out any finger at any time you want to. It enhances your playing, but unless you're really a piano major and getting into it, that's kind of don't bother with that. The payoff isn't there unless you're really going to perform, in my opinion. So you might not be able to bring out one note over the other. Well, in that case, you bring out the whole thing. Let the left hand be real soft here. And this is moderately soft. And then you go crescendo up to about a moderately loud. Loud. And then you have the diminuendo to go back down. So really what this is a big swell. Up and back down. So the middle of your swell is measure 4 and 5. There, and now you come down. You see, you don't start changing where the crescendo or diminuendo is. You start changing after it, in my opinion. That's interpretation. Other people would disagree, but that's what I teach. So I'm going to start out sort of soft, and this is just going to be very soft. But I want this louder than this. Now louder. Now just a long swell up and back. Yeah. It's better to be able to play it well enough where you're not thinking about the mechanics and you can feel this swell. And then the speed is walking. Well, there are different kinds of walking. Because to me, an andante is just like a jazz stroll. You're not really going anywhere, you're just walking. But I think they want this a little faster than that, where you're walking, you're headed someplace. That's a little faster walk. Left, right, left, right, right. Somewhere in there, in my opinion, it's not a set speed, just however you feel it. And then on top of all that, they've added pedal. Isn't that delightful? They're showing a very simplified form of pedaling. You just legato pedaling throughout. It's going to be lagged, so the notes do their thing first and then the pedal. And when you change the pedal, it's after you play the notes. So at the beginning, it's notes first, then the pedal. I'm going to change it after I play this. And if that's okay for you, then you go for it. I don't like this or this. I don't like that. To me, that's yucky. So I might lift the pedal up. Here. Actually, what I'm going to do in this case, because I want to connect the chords, and I need the pedal for that. I gotta make sure it's down at the end of the measure, long enough to connect the chords. So what I think in this case I'm going to do, because the third and fourth notes are changing, I'm simply not going to pedal the third beat. I'm going to pedal the first 2 beats, lift it up on the third, and then put it down on the fourth. And I want to hear the phrasing, so I'm going to lift up the hands in the measure 4 and go on. And that leaves a clean melody, but it connects that. Pedaling is part of interpreting. It's like articulation and dynamics and tempo, how you're playing, how you're expressing it. It's all interpretation. So you experiment with the pedal. I complicate it a little bit because I don't want you to get used to hearing junk. And when you use simplified pedaling, a lot of it comes out sounding like junk. And that's okay if you're not listening too bad or too much, too closely. But you really need to learn to listen really closely. So that's what I'm recommending. Let's play this together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics. I'll do the pedaling as I suggested so you can see it. I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go.